All right, welcome to another episode of Stories from the Edge of Life. We have another very special guest today, Esther Iyune, all the way from Cancun, Mexico. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
Dr. Esther, would you mind introducing yourself to our audience?
Yes, of course. I'm Esther Iyune. I'm an OB-GYN, and I'm a reproductive biologist. So I see the first times of life, and I see women, yes, couples, but most of all are women. So this is my specialty, and I love what I do.
Wow, what a great introduction. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'm Parag Bharadwaj. I'm a hospice and palliative medicine physician. So this is a great going to be a great discussion because I often take care of patients towards the end of life. You take care of patients and help lives from entering into this world, right? So before we get into the meat of the subject, what really got you interested in obstetrics and gynecology?
Oh, that's a great question. First, when I was studying medicine, I want to be a cardiologist. Then I thought of being a plastic surgeon. And then when I went into the hospitals and saw the first delivery, I just felt like it was natural for me. Like, this is for me. There is no doubt. But I was also struggling with this idea of being a woman. I was engaged at that time. I wanted to have a family, and I thought that for an OB, it was very hard because of the night shifts and everything. So I was struggling with, I don't want this, I don't want this, till I had to present my exams for the residency, and I put OB-GYN. And I thought it was the perfect mix between the surgery and internal medicine. So that's why also I chose it.
Got it. So that is great that you found your way into doing something you like. Tell me something. How does it? Maybe at that you can talk about when you first saw the baby being delivered, or now you've probably delivered so many babies. How does it feel when you deliver a child and bring a child into this world?
It's amazing. Each time it is amazing. I don't think that even if I see like I don't know, like this massive number of child when I was in a general hospital, I wasn't even once amazed, not being amazed. And when I see a baby, I think that I'm the first person that I'm seeing him or her, and I'm touching that baby. And at this point, I try to welcome to this world. And I say to the baby, welcome, and try to connect and to say, like, be a positive person to the society, like contribute. I hope you're happy in this world.
Amazing. And you do see the babies even before their mothers get to see them, right? So that's a
Yes.
great responsibility, and I'm sure you enjoy that role. Now, I'm going to put you on the spot. Tell me how many children have you delivered so far? Have you
So
kept a count?
I don't keep the count, but I think thousands. Yes.
Thousands, that's a lot. So, thousands of babies, that's amazing. Uh, any memorable moments you want to share while that you've had while delivering babies?
I think every moment is important for me, but there was a time when I was with a colleague, a doctor. She was having this delivery at 3 a.m. Her husband is an anesthesiologist, so she wanted to do the natural delivery, and it was the three of us against the world. Okay. So she was pushing and pushing, and the baby didn't turn, wasn't turning, and wasn't like in the perfect condition to the delivery. So I called my partner and I told her, please come because maybe we're going to end up with a C-section. So she came at 3 in the morning and she was like very brave. Finally, the baby, like, she put in the right position. She pushed, and then I had to rush to wash my hands, and I delivered the baby. It was a female, and my eyes was were watering because it was such a lovely moment. Like this vulnerability at 3 in the morning. I don't know, and it was like everything dark, and the husband like can be very very attached with a woman because he is not thinking clearly, but it ended up like perfect. I see, I have the video in my Instagram. Actually, it's her video, and I was like, don't seem crying. Yes, it was amazing. Some other times, yes, like there are women that I have put circlage, for insufficiency of the cervix, and they have sent me the children's photos at 2 years, 3 years, and it's amazing to see a child, like a healthy child, after they couldn't achieve a normal pregnancy.
Got it. Yeah. I'm sure a lot of your patients are very thankful, and I'm sure when the kids grow up, you get to know them over time as well. Um, you know, like to me, when I was doing my internship, uh, to me, every baby that was born, I consider that in itself to be a miracle, because when you learn in medical school how a baby, spends the term in the mother's womb, and the process of the delivery is just fascinating. And so, uh, like, but you've delivered so many babies, like you said, thousands. It's probably become a norm. But over your experiences that you've had, are there any situations where you've considered the babies that you've delivered to be miracle babies?
Like miracle. Yes. What I think every newborn is a miracle because now that I see the embryos and I see how two cells, the sperm and the egg, fertilize, and then we have this, like this, every newborn for me is a miracle. But I think when a couple cannot achieve, like they are losing pregnancies and miscarriages, and then they have a newborn, for me, it's a miracle. Yes. It's amazing to see their faces. And for me as a doctor, I don't like crown myself on anything. I think we are pieces of a great puzzle. But for me, it's like, thank you for the trust you put on me, and thank you for letting me be part of this.
Sorry, I'm sure that's very rewarding, and clearly I can see you're very humble about it. And I'm sure the families are very appreciative of all that you do for them. Um, now, so you've delivered so many children. Uh, Clearly, you enjoy it, but of course, every pregnancy comes with its own risk. Have you ever been in a situation when you've delivered a child, but the mother has not done so well? Sometimes, mothers even die while delivering children. Have you ever found yourself in that kind of a situation?
Thankfully, not in my hands, but I've seen in my shifts, I was in another area of the hospital. I was like in the floor, and in the ER, there was a time, I was the first year of residency. And there was a time with a mother with eclampsia, had a coma, and they had to do a C-section, without anesthesia and anything, pre-mortem to save the child. And it was amazing. Thankfully, I haven't been in that situation, but I have been in many like risks of these situations, like bleeding, and I had to perform a obstetric hysterectomy to save the mother's life. But yes, I think that when you are in that situation, like the urgency, you don't think, like you react with your previous knowledge, and you try to do your best to save all, the mother and the child.
So that example that you just shared with us when you were a trainee, where there was a patient with eclampsia, right? So that patient survived? No.
No, she didn't.
Okay. And how did that make you feel?
I felt like I had to study more. I had to, because I know the person in the urgency, they didn't do anything wrong, But how are these areas of opportunity, like act really quickly? Every patient is different. You don't trust, like, I know this patient, they usually act, or they're going to end up well. No, don't trust. Just act like very, very, I don't know, like you don't let the bomb explode. This is a saying that we had in the hospital. And trust. I also learned to trust in the body, because I usually was like very aware of the heartbeat of the baby's heartbeat, and I was like, oh my god, yeah. And I learned to trust that the body is not thinking or not saying to the heart, beat, beat, beat. No, you have to trust that the body has a wisdom by itself, and everything is perfect also.
Great, great. But that patient that you described about the eclampsia, what are your reflections when you have such an experience, when you're trying to bring a life and you see another life leaving, especially that of a mother, right? Uh, any thoughts that you want to share with us?
Well, I think that in the material plane, I think that we are very attached to the ego and very scared of what is going to happen. I don't know, the legally, and accusing everyone. But in a spiritual way, I think that everything is perfect. And that happens because of a reason. We are here to learn something. And I think that also when I see this fertility couples, that they're not they're not getting pregnant like over and over and over again. I think that we are a piece, the embryos, the parents, the doctor, the nursery personnel, the laboratory. We are all parts of a huge puzzle. And we cannot see the great panorama. We only see the micro. And we, with our little human eyes, we cannot see the macro. So At this point, I don't know what's beyond life, and I don't know if this is life. I think it's a school. We have to learn here something, and I think also that when we have these experiences in our life, I don't know, that newborn that lost her mother, that point they did never met actually at this material plane. He had to learn something. The fertility couple that are not getting pregnant, they have to learn something. They have to achieve some consciousness to get pregnant. I don't know, or not, and maybe they're going to learn it in this life or in another life. And everyone, we are a huge spider web, no? I see it like that, but I don't know.
No, a great perspective. And I'm sorry, the reason why I kept on asking about that particular case is actually that particular patient was actually because when I finished medical school and I started my internship, the first patient I actually was involved when it comes to running a code was a patient who had delivered a baby a few weeks ago, uh, and we were trying to resuscitate this patient, and the husband was standing by the side and with the newborn baby in his lap, and she didn't make it. So a very difficult experience to witness, especially as a new doctor. And so I was wondering if you had a similar experience. Yeah, that image actually of that father holding that child is still very fresh in my mind. So thank you for answering those questions and tolerating my persistence. Uh, we'll switch gears a bit. You're also reproductive biology and reproductive medicine specialist. Now, as doctors like myself, we deal with situations that are, you would consider disappointing when we are not able to save the life of a patient. Now, you're on the complete other end of the spectrum where your patients might not be able to have a child, right? What are the
Yes.
parallels that you draw? I'm just curious. What what are the parallels that you can draw between those two scenarios, if any?
Yes. As I said, I think that we are here to learn something. And it is amazing to see an embryo and see the beauty and the magic of the life, but also not achieving what you want also is a lesson. And I don't know if that is the beginning of the life or not. Because I know for sure that we are spiritual material, and we come here to the material um plane to learn something. And I am not sure if this is the, I don't want to see that, to say the death, because sometimes I hear it like, oh, the world is very bad, in a bad situation, and I don't like that perspective of the people, because let's see the history. We're getting better every year. Like, we cannot compare the years before, the centuries before. We are better now in a human condition, I'm meaning. But I don't know if beyond this life is another life, but I want to believe so. Is that answer your question?
Yeah. I just wanted to get your take on things, and overall, I mean, you seem to be. It's very interesting. You seem to be a very positive person, uh, and you have also have a philosophical bent in terms of your profession. What is your take on life? What do you think? I mean, I know you've mentioned a few times that, we are here for a purpose and schooling, but what is your attitude about life that you tell yourself every morning when you wake up?
I like that question. I think that this life is for having fun, and I try to look at myself when I am in one situation. I look at myself. How am I breathing? How are my muscles feeling? Like I'm contractor or I'm expand. And if I'm contractor, what am I thinking about the situation? So everything, I'm not positive, like high vibes and everything. I'm trying to be neutral every time in every situation because I know that the situation doesn't mean anything but what you think of that situation. So in every situation that I'm in, I try to be neutral and don't think too much about that. And if I'm not having fun and I'm not having a great time, at least don't think about it. Don't put too much emotion to that. Just pass through. Everything is good. We're going to pass because nothing is permanent, and that 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 is it. And if you're having fun, just stay present, enjoy, because that too is going to pass.
That's very, very well said. Words of wisdom. I think you seem to be able to practice what you're saying, but a lot of us we hear about it, but it's very difficult to live in the moment, right?
I try to. I try
You
to.
are
I sometimes look at myself and I'm wondering in the future or in the past, but now presence, presence, presence. Always try to be in the presence, even if I'm like in pain because a mosquito bite or I hurt my feet or whatever. I try to feel the pain without thinking because we think that it's permanent. I see with my post-surgery patients, they're like in pain, and I have seen that they are suffering because they think that they are not going to heal ever. And when I tell them that nothing is permanent and every day the body is going to heal, has a process and everything. I see their faces how they rest in this confidence.
great. What a great attitude, and thank you for sharing that with us. I'll definitely try to live the wisdom that you shared,
Thank
and
you.
thanks a lot for sharing your perspectives. Now, I do know we are going to probably want to invite you for other episodes because you bring a very interesting perspective, and I think it'll broaden the horizon of our discussion when we talk about the edge of life. Because so far we've been talking about one end of the spectrum towards the end of life, but you focus on the beginning, and you brought up a great question: is it really the beginning and is it really the end? So we'll talk more about that. We'll get another colleague of yours, Andrea. Hopefully we'll have her join us, and so I look forward to that wonderful discussion.
Yes, it would be great to be the three of us.
Great. Any parting words to our audience? I think perhaps I can share it on your behalf. Live in the moment, right?
Yes, please. I love that declaration.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. We'll see you
Thank you.
again.
It was great, the interview. I love it.
Thank you.